Ladies and gentlemen, today we will discuss if GM killed the high-revving flat plane crank LT6. Have they, with this new ZR1, gone back to the well-known LS7 pushrod, 7-liter beast, and added a twin turbo package to it? All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I am on the MS Solutions where you can win a 2024 Corvette Z06 plus $20,000. Now, for those of you who do not know what MS is, it's multiple sclerosis, and I've definitely known a couple of people in my lifetime who have had this, and it is awful. So this is going to a really great cause. This is how you would donate. You would click on one of these tickets. It shows Brink 25, and because you are a watcher of Brink of Speed, you get 25% more for your money. Enter your information here, hit continue. It'll ask for your credit card information, and you buy the tickets right there. But again, what a great cause. What an absolutely beautiful Z06 this is. It is Arctic white with the red interior, black wheels, and red calipers. Just make sure to click on my link that is in the description and the pinned comment below. So good luck, everyone. I cannot wait to see who wins. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Brink of Speed. Today, I am extremely excited to get into this video with you guys. But first off, thank you to my Thumbs Up Squad for already smashing that thumbs up button. I hugely appreciate it. And thank you for pressing that play button today and joining me. By the way, I'm just now putting a video out about this because I've spent the last few days watching this video over and over again, trying to figure out what GM has done with this new ZR1. Normally, it's easy for me to hear what type of engine a manufacturer has used, just by hearing it pace a racetrack. But this one is tricky. All right, let's first discuss the last intel I had on what the new ZR1 DNA was going to be. If you saw that video, you know what I'm talking about. But for those that didn't, let me briefly explain. I was told that the ZR1's DNA would consist of an LT6 engine with 670 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque, paired with the E-Ray, 160 horsepower and 85 torque, front electric motor for a combined 830 horsepower, 545 torque, and of course, all-wheel drive. This was excellent news as far as I was concerned. I, like many others, had concerns about GM making the ZR1 a rear-wheel drive twin-turbo beast. I felt like the Z06 already had traction issues without an extra 100 horsepower and torque. I felt like it was a no-brainer for GM to take what they had learned from the E-Ray and make it even better, going from an LT2 engine to a brand new LT6 plus the front electric motor. This would not only give the ZR1 over 800 horsepower, but it wouldn't have any issues getting traction, as it would be all-wheel drive just like the E-Ray. However, there were mixed emotions in the comment section, with some wanting this, but others lamenting the thought of GM making the ZR1 a hybrid. Not to mention, there were many disappointed that it wouldn't have forced induction. If this is the camp that you are in, hold on to your seats and don't go anywhere. I may have some good news. All right, now let's fast forward to last week at the Nurburgring. We can all thank Ali on YouTube for getting amazing footage of the ZR1 out on the Nurburgring. We can now all listen to the engine and make our own diagnosis of what we think the DNA makeup is. When the Stingray appeared at the Nurburgring, to me, it was easy to tell that the engine was a standard pushrod LT engine. Likewise, when the Z06 was pacing the Nurburgring, I also found it easy to tell that GM had put a very different kind of V8 in their new Z06. A first of its kind at GM. A high-revving flat plane crank V8, and the sounds were glorious. This time, however, GM was caught breaking the sound decibel ceiling at over 130 decibels with this new ZR1. So they had to install pipes pointing straight down at the racing surface. I was immediately curious how this new ZR1 broke the decibel level, as the Z06 and Stingray did not. And you'll understand where I'm going with this in a bit. The last time we saw this, it was with the C8 ZR1, but those pipes were pointed in a side left direction. Now this could all be GM trying to confuse us, including the fact that before they installed these pipes, the new ZR1 had the exact pipe layout as the Z06. And when I say exact, I mean exact. So before I go any further, let me play some video so that you all can hear the new ZR1. Okay, now that you've seen and heard the ZR1, let me tell you my thoughts. First of all, I really wish we had video of the ZR1 before they added the pipes pointing down. It would have made it much easier to hear what type of engine this is. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. Now, let me explain what I've come up with by process of elimination. Number one, I'm not 100% convinced that this isn't a flat plane crate V8. But GM would have to make changes to it, in my opinion. In order to add turbos, they would have to lower the compression, which would mean it wouldn't be a 5.5 liter anymore, but much smaller. But I don't see GM reinventing the wheel, so to speak, with another brand new engine just for the ZR1. So I'm throwing that theory out. Number two, I don't see how it could be a hybrid with an LT6 engine alone, as the sound is much deeper than the LT6. Wouldn't you agree? So I no longer think that my information on the ZR1 being a hybrid with a naturally aspirated LT6 is correct. Number three, could this still be a hybrid with a pushrod twin turbo LT2 V8? I'm sure that it could, but I still think that GM is saving that setup or something that resembles that for the Zora. So I'm dismissing that theory as well. Number four, there's also a possibility that it's a twin turbo LT2 and rear wheel drive. But as you may or may not know, turbos act as silencers on a V8. So it still doesn't explain how they broke the decibel level. So I guess you could say I'm throwing that theory out as well. Number five, this could be the last iteration of the C8 and we aren't getting a Zora, or they're calling this the Zora and we aren't getting a ZR1. With this theory, it could be a hybrid still with a twin-turbo pushrod V8, but I don't think this is the case either. Now get your thinking caps on. Do any of you remember this photo? Remember the LT7 that was talked about over a year ago? If you look at this photo close enough, you will see that it is definitely an LT6. Why would this photo show up and show an LT7 beta on it, unless GM planned to use this for their ZR1 engine? Honestly, I can't answer that because we haven't seen anything else since about the LT7. But what if GM decided that the LT6 was only going to be used in the Z06 and the 7 in LT7 really stood for another 7-liter pushrod V8? What if GM leaked that photo to throw everyone off so they could secretly develop a new twin-turbo version of the old LS7 for the new C8 ZR1? I mean, think about it. The LS7 is one of the greatest small block V8s that GM has ever built. And there are plenty of people adding twin turbos to these LS7s and producing enormous horsepower. Plus, GM would have to do extensive work to the LS7 in order to help it generate much more horsepower before adding the turbos. This way, it would produce over 800 horsepower and probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 850. This would most likely make the 7-liter V8 extremely loud, and even with turbos quieting it down some, it would still probably bust the 130 decibel sound level. They could also be testing these cars with no mufflers, allowing the turbos to act as mufflers themselves. Now, the same could be true with the LT2. but I just don't see GM using the LT2 for the ZR1. The LS7 compression ratio is lower than the LT2 and is much more of an exotic engine. One could also argue that Amelia Hartford helped GM with their research and development on her twin-turbo Stingray, which would make their life easy just going with the LT2, and that may be exactly what they have done. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this was the case, but I sure hope it's not. If GM isn't giving us an exotic twin-turbo version of the LT6 or giving us a hybrid with an LT6, they, in my opinion, need to give us a twin-turbo 7-liter LT7. But what do you think? After hearing the ZR1, what are your theories? Do you agree or disagree with my theory? Has GM taken the path of least resistance by adding turbos to an LT2? Or are we all going to be surprised with a much more exotic engine? Do you hear forced induction in this video? Let me know in the comments below all your answers to these questions. Let me know what you think of the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't joined the wonderful Brink of Speed community, please consider doing so by smashing that red subscribe button and the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys out on the road.